So next topic is at another network resource negotiator. So ARN concept is nothing but it's a kind of map reduce to Hadoop 2, we can call it as a. It is advanced than whatever the cluster so far we have. So this is the only cluster wise change. So let's see, let's try to write the Hadoop cluster first, whatever we have, and then we'll write ARN cluster, how it is exactly differentiate. In Hadoop 1, or we can call it as a map reduce. So we can call all the daemon services like, this is name node. One is name node, another servers are data node 1, some data node 2, some data node 3, like this way. Right. So data node 1, data node 2, data node 3. Right. So here there is a service called job tracker, which is running in associated with the name node, and each and every data nodes we have services called task trackers, TTs, which is running one task tracker for one data node, like this way. So job tracker, we can configure job tracker service for some other server or name node server. This is just like which is running on port number 8021, right? So I showed you in the configuration files. Like that, if at all you want to set up the same name node server as a job tracker server, you can set up. Or else if you want to set up some other server as a job tracker server, you can do that one as well. But port number is some 8021, like that way. So, and another thing called there is a concept called secondary name node. So whenever is name node is down, the secondary name node comes into picture, and then there are two metadata files are there. One is fs image and edit log. Using that one, you can operate the cluster for some time only. But if name node is completely failure, means it's a single point of failure. That is the disadvantage of the Hadoop map reduce. This is Hadoop 1, we can call it as a. So to overcome those things, so now there is an implementation called ARN implementation, the cluster wise implementation. These are all the changes related to with respect to the cluster. So let's see how ARN cluster looks like. Here is also name node, data nodes, data node 1, some data node 2, data node 3, like this way. Right. So up to here this is common. But in place of job tracker, there are two services there. One is resource manager, and then application master, and there is another service called timeline server. So these three are the service with respect to the job tracker. There is no job tracker service for the ARN cluster. And then instead of task tracker, here is a concept called node manager. Node manager. So which is running one node manager for one data node, like that. Well, like same task. There is no concept of task tracker here in AN. So node manager is a service running in associated with the data node service. This resource manager, application master, timeline services are the services running in associated with the name node service. So here, instead of secondary name node, we have a concept called standalone node or backup node. Or backup node. So which will act as a, so we don't see any differences when whether name node is, there is no single point of failure here. We cannot know whether whether particular name node service is down or not. Why? Because if name node is down, standalone node exactly acts as a name node. So for that, there is no difference. We cannot identify whether name node service is down or not, whether particular server is down or not. Also, only will come to know, this admins come to know from some through some email notification only. But when the people they are trying to use this cluster, they cannot know whether name node is down or not. Here, that's why there is no single point of failure. So this is a AN cluster. This is a MapReduce cluster. MapReduce or Hadoop 1 cluster. Here is AN or Hadoop 2 cluster. So AN is nothing but one of the cluster-wise implementation only. So these are all the changes with respect to the cluster, but programming-wise, implementation-wise, whatever the ecosystems we have, we can use as it is. There is no changes required. So coming to preparation-wise, so the jobs preparation, execution-wise, these services plays a major role. So why we are dividing job tracker services among these three services, like resource manager, application master, timeline server. So job tracker in Hadoop 1, job tracker is the only responsible service to identify the business logic, to identify the data related to the to identify the particular data nodes which has stored this related data to run this business logic. And then whenever particular server is down, it's keep track of that one, and then reassigning the same task to some other data node which contains the same copy of the data, and also maintain the history of the entire job flow. So it's a burden kind of thing for job tracker. That's why we are dividing those responsibilities, whatever job tracker is handling, among these three servers. So some timeline server may maintain the history. So application master is responsible for identify the business logic. Resource manager is identified the available resources, and then is there anything down, like that way, so that we can better utilize the we can get the better performance as well, as we are dividing the job tracker services among these three servers, so that job processing would be very fast compared to MapReduce Hadoop 1 cluster. Hadoop 2 AN cluster is job processing is very fast. So likewise, node manager, instead of task tracker, node manager, those two, whatever the responsibilities for the task tracker, those are all the same responsibilities for the node manager as well. So instead of secondary name node, here it is the backup node, so that there is no single point of failure concept here. So let's see the differences in one way. So these are all the in MapReduce. So job tracker is there. Instead of job tracker, here resource manager, right? Application master, timeline server. So instead of task tracker, we have node manager. So these responsibilities are whatever the job tracker will do. So what are all the services handled by the job tracker has been divided among these three services, so that we can get the better performance results for the job processing wise. So yarn is a simple concept related to the cluster wise change, configuration wise, but coming to what are all the ecosystem we have with the Hadoop, so those can process as it is. There is no changes required for those ecosystems. So that's about